All right. Hello, good evening. Happy Thursday to everybody. I am so glad to have you here. My name is Kathleen Sinnott. I'm here as your tech coach. For those of you who are new around here, what that means is technology is my day job. It's also my hobby. Because of that, I help out all of my friends, family, neighbors when they have tech questions, issues, when they're looking for advice. And because of that, I've realized not everybody has somebody to turn to for those questions, and that's why I'm here. I'm here to answer those questions for you, to give you information, and help out in whatever way I can. Tonight we're going to be continuing the conversation about Google Plus shutting down. Specifically tonight we're going to talk about you folks who have been using Google Plus for your communities and your groups, and also for the sign-on API to give customers and clients access to secured information, whether they were paying for access to something or whatever. Maybe you set up a little intranet for yourself, whatever. This is the thing we're going to talk about tonight. Also, for you photographers out there, we've got some ideas because I know the photography forums were very strong on Google+. So hang out. I'm going to get the show started and we will dive right in. Hopefully this works too. Yes. Okay. Oops. See, we're going to hear me twice. We don't want to do that. So hello everybody and welcome. I am just making sure that I've got everything where I need it to be, and we are ready to dive in because we do have a lot to talk about tonight. So for those of you who are joining for the first time, welcome. Always happy to have you here. Feel free to throw your comments in. I'm watching on Periscope and on Facebook. That does remind me, I like to set up a backup for Periscope every time because it can be a little bit challenging to catch the comments there. If you are watching this on a replay, no problem. Go ahead, put your comments in. Of course, it's more of a problem over on Facebook. I'm sorry, no, it's not a problem on Facebook because I can get the comments on the replays there. I can't on Periscope, but you can go to the website, which is right here, yourtechcoach.net. You can always leave me questions, comments, ask for advice there, or you can reach me on Twitter at @your_techcoach, and I'm happy to help you out there too. All right, so let's dive in. We've been talking about Google Plus and the fact that I keep hearing everybody going, oh yeah, it's no problem, I'm not using it. What they don't realize is they may be, because the Google Plus functionality was more than Google Plus, the site that you would go to. They call them APIs. That's programming jargon, but basically those were code sets that were available to developers to use some of the functionality that Google Plus had. And there's a lot of places where those APIs have been put to work, and you may not even know that you are using Google Plus technology behind whatever it is you're using. The big ones that people were going to notice first are comment sections. So, like, for example, if you're on Blogger, that was definitely Google Plus comments. But also there are third-party plugins for things like WordPress and so on and so forth that use Google Plus API to provide comments on your site. So you need to find out if that's the case for you. And if so, you need to swap it out for something else, because when the final hammer drops, not only, is it going to not work, but it's going to be gone. You're going to lose all of your comments. So if you want to keep those, you need to go and download them now. If you want to continue to let your customers and clients, the public at large, post comments, you need to provide them a way to do that, because it's no longer going to work going forward. The other thing that a lot of people didn't realize, so all those sign-ons where you say, click here to log on with your Facebook account, click here to log on with your Google Plus account, they're not thinking about those. So those are the big ones that I mentioned last week. If you didn't see it, you can go back and catch it. The previous shows are still out there for everybody. But tonight what we're going to do is we're going to talk about alternatives for you folks who are using or have been using Google Plus for your community, for your groups, as a way to interact with other people in your industry. There's probably groups and all that over there for you. And this is the kind of thing that's really going to be devastating. Like, in particular, I know the photography area was very active, very popular on Google Plus. And those folks are kind of feeling a little lost right now without it, and I totally understand why. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to dive right in here. Now, I just do want a disclaimer, okay? I'm using the logo there just so that people visually connect the word to what it is they're used to seeing. I don't work for Google. I have no inside information, blah, 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 okay? This is just me as a person who deals with this kind of stuff in the real world all the time, sharing the information that I'm collecting for my boss, my clients, all kinds of people. Getting a lot of emails and phone calls, which I kind of expected as this started to really hit the ground. So let's dive in. let's deal with the photographers first. You folks I know have been, very happy over on Google Plus, and I know that it's going to be a problem, right? Because it really gave you everything, right? It made you searchable for Google. It gave you a community to hang out, talk with other photographers. It made you available to people who were looking to hire photographers or buy their work. So this has been a big problem. So there are some options. Nothing that is really a one-to-one match for you, but we can just run through them. Okay, Instagram, I know you know that exists. There are, lots of photographers out there using it. I know that it's not the right aspect ratio. I know that it's a little harder to control, what's going on. You certainly don't want people stealing your photographs. But that same, that said, everybody is using it. Everybody throws it around. Sorry. Many people are using it. Many people find it helpful. Many people are in there using it all the time. So it is something to consider. I understand it's not going to work for your, high res, large format photographs, but if you're looking for a way to get your name out there, get people to see you, it's not a bad way to go. Going to something like Squarespace is not a bad way to go. So basically what that means, I'm recommending Squarespace because I know that they do a really nice job of providing pre-built templates that work very well for photography. And what you would be doing here is you would be creating your own website. And I tell everybody that that's always a good thing to do no matter where else you are. You always want to have a home base that you can always point people to regardless of whatever else is going on in the world. And that's, you have total control over. So you might want to take a look at it. There's other ones out there. I just recommend Squarespace because I've had very good success with it. I've had clients who have very good success with it. It's not really hard to learn. And, okay, really? And there's a lot of really good, clean templates that are out there. Plus you can build your own if you prefer. So that's a good way to go. Facebook, I know, it's a love or hate thing for a lot of people, but it is a place that a lot of the photography community seems to be looking at and trying at least, and in particular, Trey Radcliffe, who I know you folks know. Actually, can I get this picture? Probably can't. That's all right. I'll just bring this over. So I don't know if you had seen this, but he's been over and been very busy on Google Plus, very involved. But what he's doing is, really? Twice you're calling me? If you notice down here, public service announcements for Trey, that he's moving the Google Plus activity over to a Facebook private group. So if you have been following him and you want to continue, and you haven't seen that message, I thought that was kind of interesting as I was going and researching this for some people who had asked specifically about the photography issue, that if Trey's going there, it might be worth going over, if for no other reason than to stay up to date on what he ends up doing long term. Or maybe it's just going to work out great for him. Maybe, it's going to turn out that Facebook works for him. So, but, if a high-end photographer like Trey is looking at at Facebook, you might want to go ahead and take a look at that too. Pinterest. I'm always surprised that the photographers I speak to don't always know about Pinterest. They don't think about it. But that is a really strong place, obviously, for visual, right? And to put your images out there, and you can put, tags on them and all that kind of stuff. And you can put some controls around it too. So that is something definitely to check out. So this one I'm going to click on. So LO is another one that is very focused on the creative community. And they're kind of under the radar for a lot of people. But that said, I did reach out to some friends of mine, and they are looking at this too. So the idea behind this is it was put together by creatives for creatives. And it is very visual, and you can build your own community, and you have all those kinds of plugins and stuff. Now, it is not necessarily the first place people think of all the time, but that may change if a lot of you end up going there and start spreading the word. So it's ELLO.co, and it is another place that you can go look if you are looking for a new home for your stuff. Whoops, we skipped ahead here. Flickr. Again, I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about it out there, but it is another area where you can build community, interact with other photographers, get your work out there. You can do it for free or you can do paid. You can do tagging and all that kind of stuff on it. You have some controls over it, so that's another thing to consider. Sorry, I just saw something flicker. I want to make sure I wasn't missing somebody. Okay, good. We're good. So that is something else to look at. And the nice thing about it is because they have the free version, you can kind of test drive it and see if it's going to work for you. Sorry, why is that not loading? There we go. So it's worth taking a look at. This other one is another site that I think is probably the closest to Google+, but again, for the mainstream, it's really under the radar. And why is this jumping ahead instead of going to the link? There we go. So it's called minds.com. It is free. There are paid options inside of it, but it is another place for you to go, and it's very image friendly, very video friendly. There's all kinds of content. There's all kinds of groups out there. So it is something else that might be worth looking at. They have sort of a reward system built in, so if somebody likes your content, they can give you, I don't remember if they call them coins or something like that, but it's sort of a microcurrency inside the environment. But it is something else to go and look at. You can link up with other people in your topic area. So and you see it's pretty, it's nicely laid out. The images show pretty well. I think you can zoom in pretty good on them. You can get, you've got your comment section in here, you got, your ratings and all of that. So this is another one that I've mentioned that some photographers that I was talking to, when I was getting information, I gave this back as information. They had not heard of it, and I know a couple of them are going to look at it to see if it's going to work for them. So just again, real quick, if you're a photographer and you're looking to find another place, another home for your photography and to build community, Instagram is probably worth at least being active on, even if it's not your main area. You can go to something like Squarespace or other ones out there. I would just say if you don't want to get into a lot of high-end management, you might want to stay away from WordPress. Squarespace, very good for, clean, predefined templates that you can use. Very, very good, very friendly for photographers. Facebook, some of your people will go there. Some of the people will absolutely not, but it is very popular, and that is where Trey Ratcliffe is going, so it might be worth swinging by and giving it a try. Pinterest is more than just recipes and, sewing patterns, which is what a lot of people kept saying to me when I was mentioning it to them earlier today. I was like, no, actually it's really good for photography, and you can put, higher resolution, not super high res, but higher resolution images than you can on something like Instagram. And it also builds little communities. You can sort of, connect with other people like-minded and all that. So that's another good one to look at. Ello, which is ELL.co. That's not a typo. It is just .co. They are built by creatives for creatives. Really nice place. Do a great job of showing images. So that's a good one. Flickr, you've heard about. Again, I know strong feelings both sides, but it is another place that's very good for photography. And then minds.com is another one. Hey, Jason, thanks so much for cruising by. I appreciate that. We're just talking about some alternatives for people who are looking for a new home as Google Plus is shutting down. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know. I'm going to take a hit here of this. Alrighty, let's keep going. So next up, communities. So this is really what Google Plus did best. Like building communities, either public or private or a combination of both. The whole idea of building your circles and all that kind of stuff. It really was a strong concept. It's sort of this, I keep going back to this, Betamax versus VHS. Betamax was the better platform, VHS won. That kind of feels like what's happening here. You had way more control in Google Plus than you do in some other places. But here we are. So if you are looking to move your existing community over, or if you're looking to build a new community, here are some options for you. The first one is friendly.ca. Just bring this up. So this is a decentralized network, has the privacy built into it, all that kind of stuff. You can put posts up, you can do photos. So again, photographers still could work for you. You can schedule and run events. Okay, everybody can have profiles, all that kind of good stuff. It's extensible. This gets a little techie here. But here, let's look at the screenshots. Just so you can get an idea. Because here's the thing. You folks who have communities, you need to tell your community where you're going, how to get there, how to set up their accounts now, because it takes a while for people to take action on that kind of information. And once Google Plus shuts down, if you don't have anything else in place, you won't have a way to communicate with these people, and they could be lost forever. So make sure that you make your decision now, and you communicate that to your community. You get everything set up and let them start moving over right away so that you don't lose too many of them, because the reality is you're probably going to lose some of them. But you know, you can see it's a pretty clean layout. Again, very popular, you know, very, very photograph friendly. Come on, go back. There we go. So this is the little event thing. Come on. Of course, it's going to be slow tonight because I was telling people about it. All right, well, if it's not going to load, that's not going to help us, right? But it's got the different layouts, it's got the different types of content. So that's another one to look at. Discord, it's not even probably worth going to the site. But Discord is less of a website to go to, and it's sort of like Slack. It's sort of a messaging kind of thing, but you can also do photographs and all that kind of stuff. You can have private and shared areas. And the other thing that's unusual about this is that you can have voice chat. So you can actually like schedule a time, have everybody, you know, turn on the voice functionality and have a conversation real time with it. So that's why I put that on here, because as far as community building, it's pretty popular. It's certainly very popular with the gamers for that reason. But it is another one to think about. Again, it depends on how your community functions. If they really just want a private place to post messages, ask questions, that kind of stuff, something like Discord actually can work well, because it does have that kind of thing. You can set up like subgroups. So like, let's just say, you know, you were, you know, like some sort of community group. We'll go back to the bike teams because that's what I know the best right now. So let's say that you're, you know, running a bike group, and you know, you're going to go out, you know, the weather is going to be nice, and you're going to go out and maybe do some, you know, fat bike on the trails in the woods. So everybody, you know, you could have a section in there saying, you know, upcoming, you know, group rides, and you could put the posting in there about the day, the time, the location, throw the GPS coordinates in there if your crew is organized that way. But you could also have another section about, you know, bike repair, or another section about selling bikes or bike parts, and then it's another section for general conversation. And so you can go back and forth that way. And it's all nice and conveniently located and easy to do from a mobile device too. So it's not the first thing most people would think about, but it actually could work very well for a lot of people if they don't need the full functionality of something like Google+, which is going to be gone anyway. Mastodon is another one. It's sort of that same idea. If you notice, it looks very much like Twitter. But you can actually do private communities in this, which is what makes it a little bit different. So you can lock it out. You can, you know, kick people out. You can restrict who gets in, all that kind of stuff. This is another free one. It's, you know, sponsored, you know, so you don't have to like buy a server. You don't have to run it yourself. You just go and you sign up and you start to use it. So that's another good way to go. Diaspora is another one. I'm probably saying it wrong. But again, it's another service where you can, you know, set it up. They call their groups pods, which is fine. You know, get it started, get it going, invite people, and then you can start to layer on the functionality as you need it. And it's, you know, again, these are not names that you've probably ever heard before. I had to do some serious digging to find this kind of stuff. But it's there and it's available, and most of them are, you know, free to start at least. This is another one. This is starting to get some traction. Oh, interesting. Well, evidently they're overwhelmed right now because their site is down. I think that this has got a lot to do with the fact that these sites are getting hit by people who are like, oh, we need some place to go. So, okay, but that's another one. It's sort of another version of Friendica, where, you know, it's a web-based thing where you can set up your groups, you can have public and private, and you can do posts or videos and that type of thing, photographs, whatever you like to do. Doesn't have, at least when I looked at it, it's new, so they're adding on. But when I looked at it earlier today, they didn't have any of the event planning kind of stuff or scheduling or anything like that, but that doesn't mean it won't be coming. And then, of course, again, we're back to Facebook. Again, love it or hate it. You know, it all depends on your point of view. I will tell you, which I mentioned last week, if you are looking to move your community from Google Plus to Facebook, you will probably lose some people just because it's Facebook. I'm in a group that recently made a move similar to this to Facebook and did lose members because some people just will not have anything to do with it. That said, Facebook is built for groups and community, and you can have a public and you can have a private, and you have control over, you know, what goes on where and how it's organized. And, you know, you can do videos and you can do live streams and you can do, you know, just text posts, you can do polls, all that kind of stuff. So it's not everybody's favorite, but it is certainly a viable option for people, and it might actually also help build your group because they do promote the groups pretty well on their own site, for what that's worth, right? I'm not pushing anybody one way or the other because I understand both ends of that conversation, so that's a tough one. All right, this is the other one. So, and this is the one that I'm running into most often. So just from basic conversation here, if you have a site, that has those little, like when somebody goes to log in, like if you have a secured part of your site, if you have a tool that people have to sign up for or have to pay for, usually, it's login ID and password and you get in. To make things easier, some people started to use that one-click login using your Facebook account, or one-click login using your Google Plus account or your Google account, which is muddy. So let's get this clear. On the Facebook side of things, it's just one and you're done. On the Google side, it started out as one click to log in using Google Plus. Okay, and then they moved a little bit to the left, as Google is wont to do, and they added a login with Google. And a lot of people were confused and still are confused because they think it's the same thing, and it's not, especially from a back-end coding standpoint. Now, I don't want to get too much into the code here, but it's just important to understand that these are different doors, okay? And one is going to die completely and one is going to stay completely. So anything that is using the login with Google Plus option is going to die, okay? And that means that your customers, your clients, your employees, your vendors are not going to be able to get in if that is the only option you're giving them. Now, this is the other thing that gets a little muddy. A lot of sites now only let you use one or the other. And if you only ever use the Google Plus one and you haven't had your developer, your coder, go in and change it from the Google Plus API over to the Google one, and it's not that simple. It's complete code. It's a completely different code block that they have to use. If they have not done that, you have already or will in the next few weeks start to have people who will not be able to get in at all. Okay, and they're going to get frustrated. So I'm not going to say who this is, but I have a site that I use that I paid to get access for some stuff that I do that I love. They're great. They're super responsive. The tool is phenomenal. This is all good. But the only reason I'm not saying their name is because I don't want to pick on them for this issue. But the only way that I can get in to use that service is through Google Plus. And so I contacted them and I'm like, hey, how's it going? Love the tool, blah, blah, blah. So I'm curious, do you guys have a timeline for when you're going to switch from the Google Plus login to the Google login? Because that is the move for most people, okay? You can just go from the Google Plus to the Google one. I say just, knowing that it does not mean that there's no work. There is work for the back-end person to do. And it's not just a flip of a switch. Like, there is work that has to be done in order to make that happen. So then I got a response back, oh, I talked to our developers, they say it's not a problem. Well, I know it's a problem because I can see in the code that they're using it, but I've done all I can. They're going to figure it out because it is the only way that they allow any of their people, any of their users into the site. So hopefully by asking the question, I've at least put the thought out there for them, but I'm a little concerned that their developer answered with, it's okay, we're not worried about it because it is going to be a problem for them. Now, there are other sites, and I will mention the name on this one just because they've given doorways. So if you are using Canva, you can use the login with Google, login with Facebook, but they also let you set up another doorway. So you can use the Google or the Facebook, and you can also set up a regular username and ID and password to get in. So that's what I did there because I'm not sure where they're at in their reality check of what system they're using. And I haven't had a chance to go in and check in the code to see if I could see it myself. But at least this way with Canva, if the Google thing stops working for a little while, I can still get in using my username and password. So that's an ideal situation. It's not super common because there's two reasons why a lot of companies went to the Facebook login and the Google or Google Plus login. One is it makes their customers very happy because it's one less ID and password they have to remember, right? They just click and they go if they're already logged into Google. The other benefit to them was the fact that they get data. every time you do it. They get a little more data about you and who you are and the other places that you go. It's not anything harmful. It's just, you know, other information that they can work with. So that's why they use it. That's why it's worked for them. That's why a lot of people, when they're building things, only use one of them because they're like, hey, this is great, you know, or maybe they use both. Maybe they use the Facebook and they use the Google, but their users would have only picked one. And a lot of them didn't bother to do the traditional, you know, login ID and password combination because they're like, we'll just use this code. This is so much easier for everybody. But now it might not be so easy and people may end up locked out. So for you folks who are using anything like that for your login system, now this could be on mobile, this could be on web, it could be in a lot of different places. Your easy option is to go from Google Plus to Google. That is not an insignificant amount of work, but it is the way that they're suggesting that people go. It maintains that seamless sign-in. It will still send the company that information, but you have to make sure that the change is made. And let me tell you, every day that goes by on this clock makes it that much more likely that the person that you're going to need to go and make this change is going to be swamped. Okay, and so you want to be at the top of that list, not at the bottom of that list, because otherwise you could be looking at days or weeks that your audience can't get into the tool that you provided them. So I know I keep harping on this. I'm doing this because I'm really hopeful that you folks out there are not going to get burned by this. I know some people are going to, and that's unfortunate, but that's just the way it goes, unfortunately, and I'm just trying to get the word out there. So let me just check my list here and make sure I've covered all of the important parts that I wanted to cover for you. Right, we got all those. Where is I just wanted to show you. Okay. So, you know, it's not getting as much focus in the press. Like all the conversation you're hearing in the mainstream press around Google Plus closing, if you're hearing any, because there's still a lot of people that don't know about this. There were people last week that I forwarded my show to because I was concerned that they weren't up to date on it and they hadn't been responding to my emails. And they're like, what do you mean this is going away? Nobody told me. And I'm like, that's why I sent you the link, because we need to have this conversation. So I am concerned that there are a lot of people out there that don't know that this is coming. But I do want to show you that it's, you know, while they could be doing better in my opinion, but, you know, Google is trying to get the information out there. Let me get my face off of there. So if you see this section up here at the top, okay, this is all about the change. This whole red section here is all about the change. And it's the APIs. So the APIs, just to super simplify it, is just, you know, blocks of code that programmers can use to tap into other functionality. But it's the APIs where things are getting complicated. And you see like this list here, this bullet list, you know, so there's what, 5 APIs that they're referencing here? But that has like massive implications behind it. So, you know, if it was 1, it would be bad. If it's, you know, it would be bad enough, but 5, you know, multiplies it significantly. And this is the, you know, the big one is that, you know, the Google Plus sign-in feature has been fully depreciated and will shut down on March 7th. So this is what I'm talking about when I say it's more than just the April 2nd date, okay? If you are using the Google Plus sign-in, it will be shut down on March 7th. That's a drop dead date. Maybe they'll give us another 48 hours, but they're pushing pretty hard that this is what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. Then it says right here, you know, the Google Plus integrations for web and mobile apps are also being shut down. Okay, because they're all using the same code base. So and this is not me. I did not highlight this. Okay, you see this yellow here? That's from Google. This has the potential to affect website layouts and or functionality if no action is taken by website owners. They should have said website owners and app owners, but okay. So this is what I'm saying. There's a lot of issues here. There's a lot to be concerned about. There's a lot that needs to be looked at. And if you think it's not affecting you, that's great. Be sure. Make sure. Don't just take the, oh yeah, we're okay, you know, from your developers. Get them to double check it. Get them to show you that there is no references to anything relating to Google Plus. The +1 buttons, all that kind of stuff. All right, so that is what I have for you tonight. I'm hoping that that's taking some of the anxiety out of it for you as far as the what are we going to do. You do have some options, which is good news. mid-ground gray level news is that you're running out of time and you need to do this soon. You need to communicate it out to your customers, your vendors, your employees. You need to get the word out. You need to start moving them over, especially people in groups. You know how it is with your groups and communities, right? You have a lot of people, but not everybody is active all the time. So you want to use all of the channels that you have. If you have email addresses, if you have them on, Twitter or whatever, start pushing out the word about, okay, we've started, the move. We're going to be in this place. This is where you go. This is how you sign up. This is what we're going to do, because you're not going to be able to take them from Google Plus and magically put them over there. They have to actively go to wherever it is you're setting up shop and do the whole process. They need to create an account. They need to create their login. They need to, join the group, all that kind of stuff. If you have to send out invitations, that whole process has to kick in. So you want to start doing this now, because let me tell you, March 7th, April 2nd are coming up faster than you think. March 7th is only a couple of weeks away. So hopefully that is helpful. If, you have any questions or comments, please, 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 always feel free to reach out. yourtechcoach.net. There is a contact form there, so you can send me your questions, your comments, your show ideas. I'm also on Twitter at @your_techcoach. And you can DM me or you can tweet at me there. That's all fine. Also on the website, I do have a link that has a whole page of how you back up your information off Google Plus, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to put these other links that I had in this presentation tonight. I'm going to put those links out there too for you, and I'll also put them out in Facebook in the comment section. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. Before you go, there's something else I want to tell you. You may have seen it click in here before. I'm also setting up a mailing list. Some of you have asked, so I'm going to do that. My initial plan is I will send out show reminders about a half hour, 45 minutes before the show. Wow, that went away fast. And I will also once a month send out a newsletter. So you can feel free to join. It's yourtechcoach.net/mailing list. I'm not going to sell the list anybody or do anything else with it other than provide you content. So feel free to join up there if you like. Also, if it is any interest to you, I've got the YouTube channel pretty much set up. There's more I need to do to it, but it's up and running. And so next week, I'm waiting for the final verification on the account. And then I will be able to add that to the live streaming options here. So then I will be on Periscope, on Facebook, and on YouTube. All right? All right, folks. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Like I said, I will make these links all available. So you'll be able to get them at yourtechcoach.net, or I'll have them in the Facebook comments. I'm sorry, Periscope, there's no place for me to do it. But you can get it on Facebook, or you can go to the website. Okay? And just as a reminder, that's the website. All right, folks. Looks like we're good. Let me just do one more check here. I think we're all happy and rolling along here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. Hang in there. This too shall pass. We will move on past this, and it will just be a funny story at some point. Not soon enough for some of us, but it all is going to be okay. All right. Have a good one. I'll talk to you soon. Oh, almost forgot before I forget. I will be on Twitch. So it's twitch.tv/yourtechcoach around 9:30ish. If you want to come and hang out or talk more about this, I'm usually on there for about 2 hours on Thursday. All right. Have a good one. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye. Where is my thing? There we go. Okay. Well, okay, that's right. I forgot this isn't working here anymore. Well, that's okay. This is driving home this point. So long.